Welcome, everyone, to the June General Meeting of the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society. For those of you joining us for the first time, my name is Richard Bell, and I am the president of the KAS. And I just want to start off by saying I am very, very sorry for the terrible inconvenience this evening. I didn't get home from work until, roughly 5:20 or so, and I quickly checked my email, and Tim Kurtz said, "Should I bring a gadget? Do we have enough gadgets?" I'm like, "Yeah, bring a gadget." Then he replied and said, "Sure, I'll bring something." But is there going to be enough room for parking? And I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't there be?" And he's like, "Well, there's a graduation." And I didn't find this out till about 5:38. And in our defense, we held our last board meeting about 2 weeks ago. And I specifically mentioned during the board meeting, are they going to have an event at Chenery? Because this has happened to us many times over the years where they just have this graduation that's not on the schedule come out of the blue, and they did it to us again. And this time, finally, I think I'm going to contact whoever's in charge of Chenery and say, whoever does your calendar needs to keep it up more often, because a lot of us depend on meeting there. And we need to know the schedule of what's going on there. We are more than happy to go somewhere else, but we need to know about it first. So I know a lot of you, Jack and Pete, and sounds like Philip and several others, were already at the Math and Science Center. And so I just want to really sincerely apologize. We did everything we could to prevent this from happening, but it's Chenery. They just keep doing this. They think they can just, hold an event that's not on the schedule that disrupts the entire area. And it's terrible that they keep doing that. And they've been doing it for a long, long time. So it sounds like the dude in charge of Chenery is retiring, so that's good. So hopefully they'll get someone a little more capable of maintaining a decent schedule there. So before we begin our feature presentation, because I know some of our presenters are still possibly trying to get home, I wanted to do a president's report here. I'm going to go ahead and set it so people can unmute themselves, but please try to keep down the conversation while I'm doing the president's report here, unless you have a question for me specifically. So there we go. So I have it set so you can unmute yourself. But I want to begin with community outreach. We have the Kindleberger Festival in Parchment, which is in Kindleberger Park, right behind the Parchment Library, on Saturday, July 12th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We've been doing the Kindleberger Festival for a long time. I've done it, I don't know how many times. And I know we have several volunteers, but with this event, you can never really have enough. So we're going to basically pass out, KS literature. We're going to probably pass out some NASA goodies. We're going to do a hands-on activity. We're going to offer solar observing. So that requires lots of people. So if you would like to volunteer for the Kindleberger Festival, again, that's on Saturday, July 12th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you want to contact me, that's great. But you can also contact Jack Price, because he'll be kind of the head person on that. So I don't know, Jack, if you wanted to throw your email into the chat and people could contact you if they want to volunteer for the Kindleberger Festival. And due to a request, this kind of came about at the last observing session, or our first observing session. We're going to do another OWL observatory training session on Saturday, June 14th at 9 o'clock. There were 4 people that have expressed interest in doing another training session, and I've heard from 3 of them for sure that are going to be there. But usually with training sessions, I prefer, 3 or 4 people. Once it gets over 4, it begins to get a little crowded, but we could probably squeeze in maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 more before it gets too crowded in there. So again, we're going to do another OWL observatory training session. That's next Saturday, June 14th, as long as it's not raining. Even if it's overcast, we can still do it. But if it's raining, we can't open the roof. We can't experiment or work with the telescope, and so on. And of course, there's been some sad news to report as of late. The first one, see if I can get it on the webpage here real quick, is that Mr. Eclipse, Fred Espenak, has passed away. So let me share that. I just got that open there. I didn't quite have it ready there. So I don't know if you saw this. We mentioned it on our Facebook page that he did pass away because he mentioned back in, gosh, what was it, mid-April, that yeah, his time on the Earth was kind of limited. So he knew the end was near, and he was totally at peace with it because he lived a very productive life. He saw, over 30 total solar eclipses. He traveled all over the world, basically every continent, to stand in the shadow of the moon. And of course, not only, of course, mainly, his influence was mainly over the entire astronomical community, especially in the specialized eclipse community. But he was also, as many of you know, an honorary member of the KS, and he requested that membership because he also lived at Arizona Sky Village, where the remote telescope is, and he wanted to use the telescope. He never actually did, but he said he would help us with the telescope once in a while, and he really only did one time. Even that was limited, though. And but he did maintain his, we kept his membership. He actually attended some activities that we did over Zoom, and of course he gave four presentations for us over the years. His first talk was on April 1st, 2016, and he gave a preview, over a year ahead of the 2017 eclipse. And then he gave two talks during our last Astronomy Day event on April 29th, 2017. The first talk was on eclipse photography. Of course, he was excellent at that. He was the master at eclipse photography. And then he gave a general preview of the 2017 eclipse again. And then we just had him last year on March 1st, 2024. That was via Zoom. The first talk he did was via Skype, by the way, which is not even a thing anymore. But if you were curious, you could go to our YouTube channel and you could watch the last talk that he gave for us last year, just to remember Mr. Eclipse, Fred Espenak. So it's very sad that he passed away. And we recently lost another Fred. So for those of you that haven't read the newsletter, you have really no idea what's going on. There was some major news in the last newsletter. And let me share that now. So I kind of put together this little PowerPoint here that I was going to share. So another Fred recently passed away, and that's KS member Fred Dutton. So Fred, for those of you that didn't read the newsletter again, he joined in late July of 2007. And this is actually Fred here with his 8-inch Celestron at a public observing session in 2007. And this may very likely be the only observing session he ever actually attended, because he was not a really active member. So that's why most of you probably have no idea who he is. And I didn't really correspond with him too much, but I did email him from time to time. I tried to get him to give some presentations, but I did get him to write a newsletter article, which is why I probably know a little more about him than we did before. But he did attend some general meetings back then, but he kind of disappeared shortly after that. And that's not really unusual for a lot of members. Most members we never even see. All they are is names on a list, which is always really sad. So it's really unfortunate that he couldn't attend more, but he was taking care of his elderly mother, and she lived to the ripe old age of 113 years old, and she just passed away probably a few years ago now. So yeah, Fred Dutton passed away at the end of January, as you can see here on the screen. But we didn't find out about it until probably, oh gosh, how long has it been? Just like a few weeks ago, probably maybe roughly a month ago now, because his bank, this bank in Coldwater, contacted us, telling us that he passed away, and he left us, some stuff, and that is the big news. So let me move on here. Some of these pictures are one he shared with me because I had some members write an article for a member observatory series that I did, because several members have observatories, and I figured, hey, many of us will probably never see their observatory, so people should share this stuff in the newsletter. And the main reason I did that series on members with observatories is to show Fred's setup here. So here's Fred's house. Turn on my laser pointer if I can find it. Here, oh, here it is. So obviously this is Fred's house here. He lives on Nichols Road. Right next door, you can see a building here. This is Martin Luther King Jr. School. And you can see a shed there. That's not a roll-off roof, but of course, this you can tell is very much a dome. So this is Fred's 15-foot Technical Innovations Pro Dome. And he has now donated this observatory and all of its contents to the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society. And the really funny thing is as many of you know, we busted our butts for about a decade raising money for the remote telescope we have in Arizona. And now, basically, with one email, we just got another remote telescope donated to the club. So at least we have experience with one now, right? So here's the dome with Fred's house now from the ground. And this is one of the pictures of Fred that I did have in the article way back a few years ago, back in like 2020, when I ran Fred's article in the newsletter. And this is the one that hadn't been seen until I put it in the most recent newsletter, the June 2025 newsletter. So there's a close-up with Fred and the observatory. But if you don't know what's inside, here's another photo that Fred shared with me that I was never able to use before. So here's his telescope, but here it is from a better angle. So just like the remote telescope in Arizona, Fred had a 20-inch plane wave in the dome. So here's the 20-inch CDK with a software BISC Paramount ME, the not the original, but the previous version of our Paramount ME2. And he has this I forget the height of the pier now, but it's like 10 inches in diameter. And you can see this observing chair that's going to go in the Owl Observatory. I guarantee you right away we're going to put this in the Owl Observatory. And here's another image that I've never shared before. This is from like his baby monitor, I believe he said it was, that shows a different view of the interior of the observatory. So he had a pretty nice SBIG CCD camera. I'm not sure what we could get for that these days, but that's probably something we'd go ahead and sell. But now, of course, the question is, what are we going to do with this stuff? So if you read my article in the last newsletter, there are several things we could do. I know another member in recent conversation, Kevin Jung, mentioned, hey, wouldn't it be nice if we could put all this somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere? But that's not really cost effective. That would be extremely cost prohibitive, really, because that'd be really, really expensive to do. So we'd need a really wealthy benefactor to do something like that. But the main idea is to keep the dome, because the biggest issue we've had with the remote telescope out west is the wind, because roll-off roofs aren't really well protected against the wind, but observatories, domed observatories are. So we'd have to talk with Mike Patton to see if we could put another concrete pad and run electricity and internet to the building and move the observatory out there if that's cost effective, and relocate the remote telescope into the observatory. So we could really change the remote telescope into the KAS remote observatory. And we would probably, most likely sell the 20-inch plane wave. I kind of kicked around the idea of we could trade it for a Delta Rho, which is a wide field astrograph, but probably the most reasonable thing to do, the smartest thing to do, is just to sell the scope and the mount and maybe some other accessories, and use that to help benefit our remote telescope. but I'm certainly welcome to, other ideas. That's something we could talk about here right now. But again, it's a very generous donation. Probably, brand new, all the stuff, the dome, the telescopes. It's probably equal to what we raised with the remote telescope. Uh, you know, about roughly 10 years ago. And, for the remote telescope, we raised roughly $122,000. So this stuff here has easily got to be worth, brand new anyway, $100,000. We wouldn't get that much if we sold everything, but, it's still an extremely generous donation. So I certainly welcome some discussion on this. Anyone have any thoughts or anything they wanted to share before we move on? Nothing? Big thing like this and everyone's silent?
What's the possibility of us putting it out at the Nature Center along with the Owl Observatory?
Probably not likely because I don't think the Nature Center would support a dome.
Okay, I'm
I
just
don't, yeah.
curious.
I mean, that's something we could broach with them, but I don't think they'd ever go for a dome there.
Yeah, most of their stuff looks supposed to look pretty rustic, so
Yeah.
I
Hey,
don't know.
Richard,
Maybe we could talk them into Delano's homestead and park it over there somewhere. But
we put
Yeah.
it in Arizona and operate it as a binocular with the existing telescope.
yeah, there we go.
3D images. Any other comments?
Could we
All right.
use any of the counterweights?
We have quite a few now. It might be possible. Well, but
I mean,
yeah,
if they're all slid down, we could always, obviously, if they're higher up
yeah,
if one would allow us to
yeah,
slide the whole grouping up higher, that'd be better for the remote.
yeah.
When are you guys going to take a look at the equipment and all that stuff?
Yes, that's a good question. We're scheduled to do that Sunday. And as of right now, because I don't want to overwhelm the lady that's going to meet us there, I figured we'll just have board members there.
Okay, I'm just
But
curious what eyepieces and other
yeah,
viewing equipment he might have as opposed to. I mean, I certainly would like to have a 20-inch planewave, but I have no place to put it, and I don't know any place we could actually move it pretty easily. I think you're right, and moving it all out to Arizona would be cost
yeah,
prohibitive. So,
yeah. But I think, yeah, we should be able to get roughly $30,000 for the telescope alone. That's roughly what they tend to sell for used. The question I want to get answered is what is the serial number of this telescope? Because as I mentioned, some of you haven't heard this yet though, is back when Fred purchased his plane wave and when we purchased our plane wave, the default mirror was made of Pyrex. But we specifically requested a quartz mirror for our telescope. So I I want to know what Fred's mirror is made of. I don't think we can tell just by looking at it. But if we give PlaneWave the serial number, they should have that on record somewhere. And I'd like to get some measurements of the concrete pad that the observatory is on, just so we can, if Mike Patton says we can pour one out there, we can tell him the exact dimensions that we need. And yeah, I want to do an exact inventory of what's actually in the observatory, because right now we really don't know. We do know there's a plane wave in there. We do know there's a Paramount in there and probably the CCD camera. But beyond that, we don't know that much. We don't know what else is in there in terms of eyepieces and other types of accessories. We do know he did photometry, so he does have filters for photometry that we could probably interchange in the remote telescope. So if people wanted to do full photometry with the remote telescope, we might be able to make that more doable now. We just have to change out filters once in a while or something.
Or with the new CMOS cameras, get a monster filter wheel that would have the photometry filters.
Yeah.
So I know, like Finger Lakes, they do sell filter wheels that have like 12 to 16 slots. So assuming that they're all the same, I mean 50 millimeter square.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure what Fred's filters are, but they're probably roughly comparable to that.
Yeah, that looks like the S Big 1100 or the 6301, one
Yeah,
of the older generation ones.
yep.
Do we have any places to the north, either northern Lower Peninsula or the UP, for a second scope up there?
No, we don't have any property.
No, I mean, it's, yeah, clouds.
That
Yeah.
too, yeah.
The best thing, I mean, in our area, I think even years ago, Richard, you guys looked at, Fulton area, even, or Allegan, I mean,
Mhm.
it's probably the darkest in the area. I mean, you
Yeah.
go up in the lower up by Alpena and stuff, you got Bortle 2 skies, yeah, but that's way up there. That's a
Yeah.
long ways, and
It's,
you don't know what the infrastructure is like.
yeah, that's it's closer than Arizona, so.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully he has the crate for the plane wave, otherwise he'll have to get
Yeah.
a crate from,
That's the other thing too. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can look in Fred's garage and that shed and see if he has the crate. I mean, I can't imagine he'd throw it away.
yeah, it'll say
Yeah.
plane wave.
Yep. Of course, I know what they look like because we have one, so I can't imagine the crate style has changed that much.
Yeah,
But
it'll
yeah,
say fragility on it.
but before this, we had talked about finally upgrading the cameras to the remote telescope because it is it is time to upgrade them. The camera technology with CMOS cameras has improved so much that we really need to upgrade now, and we had to upgrade the computer too. That has to be upgraded before October. So, so this
Yeah,
would certainly make that really a lot easier. This help maintain the scope that we already have, and because I think it'd be really difficult to have another remote telescope. Maybe it'd be easier if it was at Arizona Sky Village, right with the other one, but maybe to have two in separate locations or something like that. You know,
down down in Chile.
yeah, it'd be nice to have it in the southern hemisphere, but yeah, that's just not practical.
Super expensive.
Unless someone's going to donate, something in the six figures here tonight. So that would be good.
Yeah. Hopefully, with the way the economy is, we could get what we want if we decide to sell it. But I definitely don't think we'd want to like lower the price down where we're like having a, fire. I'd rather hold on to it until times get a little bit better.
Yeah, and Mike Patton does also own a storage facility up near or I was going to say Planeway, but Plainwell, and I'm sure he'd let us keep stuff there for a little while, especially over the summer because it should be mostly empty because he mainly stores boats in there over the winter. All righty. Anything else before we move on here with our feature presentation? Okay. So let me share the screen here again. So let me give a proper introduction this time. Here is the 1954 kind of leaflet schedule for the Kalamazoo Amateur Astronomical Association. So you can see the president back then was Jerome Corman. I don't really know that much about him. We had Dr. James O. Lawrence as the vice president, Mrs. Brian Coghan as secretary, and William Persons as the treasurer. I don't believe any of those people are alive any longer. And here's the other side of that page. So there's the schedule for 1954. And you can see at the November 20th meeting, not only did Dr. Alan Buskirk, our first lifetime member, by the way, talk about cosmic rays, but we had this little feature called Gadget Night. And we have been doing Gadget Night now for over 70 years. So this is a long-standing KAS tradition where members basically share, things they either built or things they either bought that are, kind of unique or different. So stuff we probably haven't seen before or others might be interested in seeing to learn more about. So how many folks have gadgets to share tonight? So it looks like quite a few there. So Jack, you want to go first? We'll start with the fun gadget.
Sure, I'll unmute
Okay.
myself. Why not?
Okay, here it comes. All right.
Richard suggested that my new gadget is the new socket and ball in my shoulder. So on the left is the pin that holds the socket in place, and then down the humerus they shove some glue in there and stuff the ball into it. So I will have a fully functional brand new shoulder after all the physical therapy is done.
Yay.
Got a bionic arm. Yeah. Shoulder replacement. Yeah. That's a new one.
All right. That'll help you do astronomy for years to come, Jack. So that's very relevant.
Another 40 years. Yep. Looking forward to the eclipse in, was it 2045 or 45?
2044, 2045. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 95, but I'm up for it now.
We got the shoulder for it. Your shoulder will still be around. All right. Joe or Darren, you guys want to go next at the McDonald's there?
Put me on.
Well,
Let me spotlight you guys. All right, Darren, we can see you guys now.
We also have George Drake here too. So we got
hey, George.
two Drakes.
Hi there.
and a Comiskey.
Put that up here a little bit.
Okay, there we go.
Hi guys. So I'm Darren Drake, and I live in Chicagoland, but every summer I come to the Camp Eberhard and run the astronomy program, and I always try to make it out to Gadget Night. But since we're doing it this way, I thought I'd show my coolest thing. I didn't plan on showing this at the school, but since we're doing it this way, I can do this. This is my latest acquisition. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a Teeters telescopes. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Teeters telescope. Rob Teeters built telescopes out east, and this is a 20-inch f4 that I got recently. I got it used, and it's got an outstanding light holder mirror and ServoCat and Nexus system with Sky Safari Pro. So that I'll be using every night at the camp. This picture was just taken a couple of nights ago at my spot on Quarry Lake. And I'll be having the kids out every night for the summer to look through the sky. And I'm thrilled to have it. I usually had to have an 18-inch, but because I got this one, now I've got another 20-incher, which is 24% more light. Thought I'd show that real quick. It's number 189, serial number. Anyways, my little gadget, I've shown this before, is an artificial star. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep. Yeah.
It will turn off and on with a potentiometer. It's got about 1/10 of a millimeter hole. And what's cool about it is it's focuser insertable. And that means it will go into the focuser of a telescope, and or I could put a Barlow lens on it to make the hole smaller. Okay, so why would we want this? Well, how many times have you heard people get a telescope, they can't test it because it's cloudy for 3 months? The scope course, we've all heard that one, right? So if you have a telescope that's, say, a larger telescope like a Dobsonian, like a 20-inch or even a 10-inch, and you put it in this telescope, put it in the focuser of that telescope, you can now aim that telescope into another telescope that you're going to test. And I've got pictures in my phone, but it would take me too long to bring it up. But the idea is that you can test a telescope's optics and do a star test, alignment, collimate, and do all that within the confines of a small enclosed area, but you're focused at infinity. Okay, so the advantage is you have no thermal issues, and you have actually are at infinity. And so how cool is that to be able to test a telescope in a living room or inside any environment inside on any night, regardless of the time or day and so forth. So that, I think, is a really cool gizmo to have. And I have a lot of friends come over to test their telescopes. And I could even put a knife edge and do a null test and see the actual wave accuracy of the optics. And I've got a whole library of images done by null tests. If you can see these are different telescopes tested with knife edges at the focus of a telescope using, some of these are done with a double pass system. It's different, but a lot of these are with what I have at home. And so it's really neat to be able to test a telescope regardless of the weather, I think. And I have a lot of friends, I made a lot of friends who like to come over, test a telescope in the basement, and I can tell them whether it's got astigmatism or undercorrection or overcorrection, misalignment, chromatic aberration, whatever the case may be. I can give them a good analysis of what the telescope's optics are without actually looking at a star, just using this device here. And these are not available anywhere. No one makes them. I found a guy who could make these. I got a few of them, but then he died, and I have never heard of anyone making one of these. Wow. But the key is people have artificial stars, but they don't make them focus or insertable. You just put it on a tripod and put it off 100 yards away, and then you look at it. Well, you know, this is way more convenient because you're not relying on being far away, and you're going to deal with thermals. And if it's not far away enough, it's going to throw spherical aberration into your results because it's not too far enough away. This makes it truly like it's not a true artificial star. It's more like about a Neptune, maybe 3 or 4 arc seconds across, maybe 2 or 3, depending on what scope I'm using. But it's not a pinpoint, but it's close enough. And I think this is a really cool gadget to use. Any questions, comments?
All right, thanks, Darren. Anybody have anything?
Is that 1.25 or do you have adapters for 2-inch?
Yeah, it's 1.25. So you could just put it a 2-inch to 2-inch to 1.25 adapter in it, and then put it into any 2-inch focuser. So it's made to work into just about any telescope.
Cool.
Is that something you can unscrew and take photos inside?
Say again?
Is that something that you could take apart, take photos of the inside?
Yeah, I had someone do that literally a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
If there's an interest, I can forward this pictures to Joe Comiskey, and he can send out an email if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. And it would take too long, but I do have pictures of me testing telescopes, but you get the idea. You're aiming one telescope into another, and it's very helpful. In fact, a few weeks ago, we were testing out a telescope at 7-inch f9 astrophysics that was being sold. And here we are testing that scope on the spot to test out, was this scope worth having? And long story, it was worth it, but we couldn't negotiate on the price. But it was cool to be able to test it at their facility. And so that's another advantage. If you want to test a telescope, but you have to wait for a clear night, no worries. Just bring your own telescope and this gadget, and you can test the optics on the spot. And I've done that before. I tested my 6-inch refractor that way. Bought it on the spot once I confirmed it was good. So that's another plus to this. You can do things like this on their property and determine on the spot whether the optics are good.
1-800-CALL Darren.
Any other questions? Later on, if there's an interest, I have in my van night vision device. I've shown it before, but if we have lots of extra time, I can bring out a military specs PVS 14 night vision device if anyone's interested.
Yeah, just bring it to the observing session again.
Yeah, that too. Okay.
All right, Joe, do you want to go next since you're there?
Yeah.
Let George go. I don't really have anything.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right, George, go ahead.
Drake night. Darren and George. Well, if you don't want to carry around a red flashlight on Amazon, I found this headband red light. It's got a higher intensity and a lower intensity, and it's got a flasher, And let's see, I think I went by the. Yeah, it's got that. I don't know why you'd want that.
Can you hold it a little higher? Yeah.
Nope, sorry. That's where the camera is, right? Yeah.
There you go.
You see it now?
Higher, maybe. There we go.
Yep.
Yep.
There we go.
And it goes around your head.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Here's the headband. So it's got several different settings, and then on the other side it has white light with a dimmer and a brighter setting. Got 2 of them for $20 on Amazon. So
Those are good for trouble lights too.
yeah,
You know, the astronomy as well as, you know, just working on your house.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Thank you, George. It wouldn't be Gadget Night without a red light.
I would have, if we were in person, I would probably get a couple things, but mine are kind of dumb, so I'm not going to do it. Well, it's better done another time, so I'm going to pass.
No worries, Joe. All right, who wants to go next? Who else had a gadget? Pete, do you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah,
Or,
I can go.
wait, hold on there. I think Tim said he will. Tim, you want to go? I figured I'd have you go last, Pete. Tim, go ahead. There he is.
Hello.
Just remember, it's Tim's fault that we're on Zoom. It's his.
Yeah.
Kill
Sorry.
kill the messenger.
You're the messenger. So
Hold on
this is my new mini PC. And I've got this clamp mount and a mini monitor. So when I want my grab and go setup, so I've got my Red Cat over here on a little Star Adventure. Oh, I'm not lifting that with one hand, but this can mount to the tripod leg. Hold on, I might have to turn the camera down. Let me mount that. So this can mount right to the tripod leg. So when I want a quick grab and go setup, I've got my PC here for astrophotography. I've got my camera and I've got my keyboard. And then a purchased gadget, but the adapter for this from the factory is not very good. So I went ahead and I bought an upgraded one so it doesn't mar up the dovetail plate.
I got one of those too for my mount. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So
Who makes that?
Aputura, it's the High Point Scientific house brand.
Okay.
And they're not too expensive. They're like $80 or something. So but yeah, I just wanted a quick grab and go setup. So I've got this guy here, you know, it's kitted up with the automatic focuser, my guide scope, APS-C camera, or I can swap it for my full frame. And you know, all of this, what I had brought to the meeting was this setup, and I had it all in my tripod bag. So everything fits all in one bag. So all I need to do is bring this and a power tank and I can go anywhere.
Cool.
Oh, and this is, I guess I wanted to show that. This is actually battery operated. So I can, the monitor has its own unit. And then the mini PC, I just have hanging on a little clasp or a carabiner, and that can hang right onto the leg. All my cords are hang off of this, easy cord management. And then when I'm done, this can just swing out of the way and I don't have to worry about anything hitting.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Now the arm clamp in the monitor, is that like is it an actual monitor, or is it like a projection of the phone or something? I don't quite get that.
This is actually a mini HDMI monitor.
Oh, okay.
So let me pull off the hood. So these are meant to just mount onto the tops of cameras. So it just has a normal thread.
Oh.
And it has just all of your normal plugs on it.
Cool.
And then this is just a USB or a wireless. It comes with a wireless USB dongle, but it's a full keyboard and a touchpad.
Huh.
So, you can out in the field quickly type in what you need to, set your target. So this is kitted up with Nina instead of some of the other popular software. So I've got Stellarium and Nina on that, and then I can hotspot to my phone to get wireless to if I need to. Any other questions?
Yep. Hearing none. Thank you very much, Tim.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks.
All right. Let's see. Matt, did you have a gadget?
Me? No.
Yeah, nope. Oh, I thought you said you did.
No, I didn't. No.
Okay. I know you built stuff or had stuff recently, but okay.
Yeah, nothing to show.
That's fine. Grady.
Yeah.
Anybody else besides Pete? I figured I'd have him go last with the PowerPoint. All right, Pete, you're on.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out sharing.
You should be able to share now.
You see that?
Yep, we got it.
Okay. So my gadgets, there's multiple pieces here. Over the last several months, I've been working on fixing my shifting collimation on my 12-inch f4 Newtonian. It's equatorially mounted. I have a custom carbon fiber tube, but even that's not enough with the weight of a big 12-inch mirror, and with it being on equatorial, so it's pointing in all directions, you get gravity pulling all over the place. So I did a lot of modifications dealing with around the focuser area. And so, let's see if I can change. Oops, come on. There we go. So I modeled my whole telescope up in Fusion 360. I do have a 3D printer that can print large stuff, and what you can see, here's the tube. And what I did is I made two rings, sets of rings. One goes on the inside of the tube that helps give it support from underneath, and then one on the outside here that bolts to this aluminum block that I had CNC cut. And I got it set up. I ended up getting a moonlight focuser. And the goal here is to make sure nothing moves, not even a fraction of a millimeter. And so far, it's been pretty successful at this. So here's my, on the left, the scope with the 3-inch Nightcrawler, my camera, auto guider. You can see right here's the aluminum block. Here's the 3D printed outer rings. AG Optical does a very similar setup. So the aluminum block gets bolted on here and it also bolts through here. And you can see it here. Right here is aluminum block. And far right, this is what I cut on my little CNC in the basement that I picked up off of Amazon of all places. So worked out pretty good. The top of it is actually drilled for moonlight. Before this Nightcrawler, I had an Optec TCFS focuser, so there's a bolt pattern to mount that. I have a Moonlight CRL, I believe, too. They're 2.5-inch focuser. That's for sale too, if anyone wants to buy it, by the way. But this is what the goal was, is to strengthen it. And in here, you can see the CNC cut one-piece aluminum spider. You'll see it here in the next picture. Oh, yeah. When you have all these parts, you definitely want them black, and dark. And searching on cloudy nights, Krylon years ago made a flat black paint, ultra flat back, that was optimized for optical use. Hollywood actually would use it a lot. They would, for like their special effects sets and stuff, they'd spray the whole room black, and it's like black is black. and then it seemed to have disappeared. There's actually one place out there that does have it, the original can still, but it's really hard to get. They're expensive. And then I found on Amazon that it's actually got rebranded as this Krylon Industrial. So if you have a project and you need to have like eyepieces, the inside rim or whatever, ultra flat black, very low reflection, perfect for optical use, very durable. This is the stuff. It's like $10 a can, I think, on Amazon, but I could definitely give someone a link if you ask for it. So I ended up spraying that aluminum block and doing all that fun stuff. So you can see in here, the spray paint. Other upgrades I did while I was at it, had the scope part was from Protostar. I got their flock board. So it has that the flocking stuff that doesn't like very high regards. A lot of people have issues for some reason with Protostar, where you might put an order in and you might get it a year later. I was lucky; it actually shipped fairly quickly, but it does a really good job of making the inside very dark. Also, at the very bottom, I put on a mask. So the clips on a primary mirror, when you do imaging, those clips actually show up as flaring on brighter stars. So a lot of people will get a little mask and put it or make it so it covers up the clips. But yeah, it just worked out very well. I think that's it. Oh, here's the first light. It's the Pegasus 1 Galaxy group. This was a quick stack of, I don't know, probably like 5 hours or something. But everything worked out. My stars are super round now. Before I would have each frame, depending as it's tracking through the sky, you get all sorts of aberrations, collimation issues. With that one-piece spider, you can see the diffraction patterns are perfect, textbook perfect. That's one thing. When you have typical ones, when you're like tightening them up, sometimes they get a little bit out of sync. They have to be perfectly lined up with the one across to get a perfectly line going across. Otherwise, you start getting really weird artifacts. But next on my list, if you can't barely see it, there's these little arcs here in the lower left corner and darkening. My secondary mirror is too small. Actually, it's an 88 millimeter. I actually purchased a 4-inch or 102 millimeter secondary that I got to be putting in here pretty soon. And I think that's it. But one thing that you can see is I 3D printed a secondary holder that's made out of PETG carbon fiber. So it's super lightweight, super strong. It can hold up under temperatures and stuff. So basically the bolt comes through here, from their spider. A nut goes in here that holds it. In the primary or the secondary mirror, I can either use silicone or I'll probably use 3M double-sided tape. They have a special one that I've used for the smaller mirror. But this works out really well. It's very lightweight, very strong. So yeah, so that's what I got.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete.
Yep.
Any questions for Pete about all that?
Pete, how long have you had How long have you had your 3D printer? Because I think last year you showed a bunch of stuff you've 3D printed.
Yeah, I've had it for like 2 years now. Hold on one second. One of the last things I printed is a batten-off mask. What do they call them? Batten-off mask for focusing.
Batten-off, yeah.
Yeah. This is I don't know if I can get it not blur. This is a tri version. So what it'll do is typically when you use one, you'll have like the diffraction and then you'll have the middle one. And then as you focus, the middle spike actually goes and you want it in between perfectly. With a tri one, you get 3 of them in the direction of your actual collimation screws on your primary. So you can see if your collimation's off actually with that, because one will be like perfectly centered, the other one will be a little bit off, and you can use those things as a quick way to collimate actually live with your camera. So I 3D printed one of these guys, and it just fits on top of it like an aperture mask, but it's just focus slash collimation. But yeah, I've had it for a couple years now, and it works really well. It can handle up to I can make stuff for up to about a 14-inch scope in one shot.
Oh, that's great.
Great. Any other questions for Pete? All righty. So that concludes Gadget Night for 2025.
Hold it.
Yes.
It's only 8 o'clock. I brought a couple of emergency gadgets just to extend it a little bit.
Okay. I thought you said you didn't have any.
Well, I changed my mind.
Come on, this is a professional organization here. We got to keep things. All right, fine. Go ahead.
Okay, mine is in the music. How many people saw Yo-Yo Ma the other night? I don't know if you can even take a poll, but he was in Kalamazoo. Yeah. At any rate, I got first. Well, this is a music light that my daughter got for my piano, and but as you can see, I use it actually more for astronomical viewing. It clips on like this, and then I covered it with several layers of red, clear red film, just to make it red, so you can see it. I mean, it doesn't look like much doing this, but it casts a nice red light, and it's a very complementary to the thing that George brought in. Also, I don't want to show this. It's kind of too big, but when we did the observing session a couple weeks ago, I brought in that sea star that I happen to have with me. That's the clubs, and I thought, well, how am I going to show this to people? Well, I basically used a simple music stand that was portable to put the what do you call it? The tablet on, so people can see the images as they're coming through. So when you're waiting for the sun to go down, you get out your recorders and you play your you play your Renaissance pieces, and then when the sun goes down, then you put those away, and then you start doing some astronomy. So it's got a dual purpose. So that's all I got.
I got one more thing to say before. If this was in July, can they see me?
Yeah.
I would have a new device. It's coming, but it's worth mentioning, even though I don't have it yet. And I don't know if anybody's heard of this device, but there's a new device I've been waiting for a long time, and I got it on order, and it should be coming in a few weeks. And it's called the Pegasus Smart Eye. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know what it is. I am on the guinea pig list to get one. And I'm excited to have potentially a really cool device that could do stacking and enhancing basically right on the spot at the eyepiece. Yeah. It's the equivalent of a 11 millimeter focal length, 90-degree field of view, but it's a camera that stacks and enhances and sends images to your phone. It'll be interesting for the program, as well as just seeing what it can do with the big telescope. As long as you have tracking, it can work with any scope, so it'll be really, really cool. Yeah, and it's getting a lot of attention on like cloudy nights and stuff, but no one has one yet. They're supposed to ship, I believe, in a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, with Fred's donation, we talked about stuff mainly going to the remote telescope, but we should consider getting maybe one of those and other stuff for our observatory too.
And the smart scopes, I don't have to tell you, are really starting to take over. I got friends who swear they'd never be imagers and stay visual, and they end up getting these things, and all of a sudden they're sending me their new pictures. And
yeah,
smart scopes are really taking over, kind of fortunately and unfortunately, but
yeah,
I think it's hard to avoid it.
So
this is as deep as I'm willing to go. It's just a
how much is that?
How much is it? It's about $1,600.
Oh,
yeah, $1,600. Yeah.
We'll forget it.
Yeah. So if I'm around in the August meeting, then I'll have a report, I hope.
Great. Any more last minute gadgets?
Sorry about that, Richard.
That's okay. You just I just like to have things organized a very specific way. You know me. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We'll have to skip the snack break. So I don't know if Philip was able to join us, but it sounds like he brought us homemade brownies. And Philip, we're terribly sorry we couldn't enjoy those. I do see Philip on there, so I don't know if he's going to chime in. Philip, if you want, go ahead and yell at me. I don't care. But
Yeah, I brought the stuff, Richard. It wasn't a big deal, though.
Okay, we're so sorry you went through so much trouble, though. We feel bad about it, but
No problem.
bring it with you on Sunday. We'll have some brownies while we're inspecting the equipment.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We'll start with observing and imaging reports. I know most of you probably don't keep track of our Facebook page, but I posted this on Facebook. This was I posted this last Saturday. I was going to probably try to head out maybe to Owl Observatory to do a little viewing or most likely imaging, but the Canadian smoke was so bad. The sky was terrible, but I thought I would walk out and check it out, and lo and behold, I saw this bright thing passing nearly overhead here, and I thought, oh, it must be the space station. And I was right, but it wasn't the International Space Station. It was the Chinese space station, and I had no idea it was going to be there, but it passed, like roughly 88 degrees overhead. So that was pretty cool. So to walk out and see the great flyby of the Chinese space station, Tiananmen, or something like that. Any other observing reports? I know it's been tough. The weather's been pretty rotten. Pete?
I got a picture.
Oh, you want to share a picture from imaging?
Yeah.
Okay. It is observing imaging reports.
I know. It's my pass. Okay. So.
Boo, we hate you. Boo, Mumbauer sucks.
Yeah. Feel the love. So this is NGC 3718 up in the distorted galaxy at the bottom, down up in Ursa Major. I took this back in April, looks like. It's up 13 hours worth of exposure. It is, let me see here, get my notes. Yeah, it is thought to, distortion is actually being a result of the companion to the top, which is the NGC 3729. Which is a pretty neat, this is a classic, I love these distorted galaxies, it's so cool. Get a little zoomed in here. Oops. Oops, sorry. And then you also have a Hickson group here off to the left side of 5 members. Hickson 56, or also known as ARP 222 for those who are knowledgeable in the ARP catalog. But yeah, this was a pretty cool. I've always wanted to image this one, and finally, I've had a few days I could do it where it was actually clear, no Canadian smoke, and the moon was out of the way. So, wow. Yeah, no, that's it. I'm done for the year. That's it.
Very good, Pete. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the other one, and one more real quick, is the NGC 2903, which is, where is it? Yeah, up in Leo. So this is a pretty cool one. Nice bright star in the field. Just a classic barred spiral that, yeah, there we go. But I was somewhat productive. That's
Very
all I
good.
got.
Thank you, Pete.
Yep.
Any other observing or imaging reports?
I can share one of my images.
Great, Tim.
Well, someone we can boo at besides me.
Fair enough. Let's see here. How do I share?
The green button that
Okay.
says share.
And I just want to share that. So, this was my first attempt at the Rho Ophiuchi region. So we have Antares down here. I believe this is M4.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Off to the right. I'm moving my mouse, but I probably have to turn on pointer. That's probably this button. Oh, that's not that button. I don't know how to do it.
You can see the mouse.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, that's that. This is a bright star I can't remember the name of. And I was shooting this one with the Ascar 71F, so it's a 71 millimeter flat frame. So I don't need any reducers or anything. And then this was with the recently acquired full frame camera. And if you look carefully here, I'll zoom in. You can see these two weird artifacts. I did not calibrate correctly, and I had a meridian flip, and my flats did not get rid of the funny spot in the center. So, like I said, first attempt. I think it turned out okay.
It looks great.
Isn't like the blue horse head like right below this? Or is that?
It's
kind
little,
of up here
yeah.
and just off. I think
I think it's down. There's like some blue at the very bottom.
this
Below.
is stacking artifacts that I could not process out.
Okay.
Because my view to the south is obstructed by the new Kalamazoo County Road Commission building, and they built a light forest over it.
Oh, yuck.
And,
Which full frame camera do you have?
it's the ZWO 6200 color.
Okay.
If I had to do over again, I probably would have gotten the monochrome, but we don't get enough clear nights up here, so that's why I kind of was leaning towards the one-shot color.
Yeah.
Very nice though. Very smooth. Did you do a lot of like noise reduction, like Blur X or anything, or Noise X?
Yes. So I'm learning PixInsight. I recently bought into that, so I am following
Adam Block?
No, I haven't bought his stuff yet. It's somebody else's who posted his stuff for free.
Who posted Adam Block stuff for free? Cool.
Yeah, I wish. Let me see here. I have his name. Peter Zelinka.
Okay, yeah.
He has a workflow that I was trying to follow. So Blur X correct only to start. Then SPCC, the color correction. Another blur exterminator after that. A star exterminator. Then I was doing my stretching. I wasn't able to get the background extraction to work, and I'm having some problems with one of my plugins, and I haven't quite figured out what that is. So I was doing most of my stuff in Serial, which I wonder if I can.
Well, PixInsight has a new gradient correction that does, and it's incredible, and it actually has coverage in that part of the sky. It's I think it's called gradient correction. It's part of their Mars project, where they use super wide angle shots. They actually show what like a true like Bordeaux 1 sky looks like, and then it figures out, oh, this is not supposed to be here, gradient, and gets rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you Google PixInsight and Mars, it'll bring up the whole thing. It's fairly new. But look forward to see more from you from that. That setup. That looks sweet.
Well, I've got one other one I can quick share then.
Sure.
We got time.
How about that? So this is the Satyr region, kind of in Cygnus, and you can see I've got the Crescent Nebula up here. I think this is about 7 hours.
Wow.
And I'm going to reprocess this one. I'm not happy with the colors. And there's some weird puffiness to this that I think it was maybe a little bit too strong on the noise exterminator. But and I've got a kind of a funky halo here, but overall I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with it for my first attempt at this area. So
did you get the soap bubble? It should be between the crescent and that, I think, the blue star. I don't see it. Maybe. It looks like a bubble.
And now that you mention it, I didn't even think to look for it.
Is the soap bubble the one that was discovered just a few years ago?
Yeah, it was just a few years ago. It's roughly in that region between the crescent and. I did a mosaic and I was able to get it. I need to get more panels this summer.
And I'm really happy with the field of view with the full frame camera in the 71. It's 490 millimeters. I do have a focal reducer that I can put on to go even wider. But then it's the corner stars aren't quite as good. Although with BlurX, it fixes a lot of those things.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But yeah, I followed a similar process, correct stars.
Did you use any filters, like any of
Oh, actually, yes. This was shot with the Optolong L Ultimate dual narrowband. I think it's a 3 nanometer.
Wow, yeah.
I had originally purchased one of the other Optolong dual narrowbands and subsequently lost it before I ever used it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either somewhere in the Arizona Sky Village, although Jim turned the house upside down looking for it too. Or it's in an airport between here and there, so I just turned around and bought another one.
Oops.
Yeah, well, it happens. So.
Very cool.
Very good. Thank you, Tim. Any other observing or imaging reports? Anybody wanted to share?
I have a quick question. Are we on?
I got one.
Yeah.
Has anyone been watching for the Blaze star? T Corona Borealis?
I haven't been keeping track of it because the weather's been so lousy, but I just kind of followed it online. They have little updates on space weather, so there's really nothing going on.
Keep an eye out for this summer.
I did take a pre-image here within the last couple months when we had a clear night. Moonfill night. I just went over there and took a picture so I can have it like before.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
all right, Matt, did you have something?
Yeah, I got one I could show.
All right.
This is very rudimentary. My first attempt here. Let's see. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So that's just from a guide camera. It's the AZO 120. It's not stacked. This is just a single image. I couldn't get the perimeter. It's black background, which kind of screwed up the perimeter of the sun with some of those prominences, so it looks a little funny. But yeah, I just got a 174 camera, so I'll give that one a try once the smoke clears. But figured during the night, it's always cloudy lately, so I figured I'd try during the day. So this is pretty much what I'm focusing on is solar right now. So
that looks great.
Nice.
I just started trying to figure out the H alpha, so I have the
this was for the Lunt 60. Yeah, this was the Lunt 60. I think this was just the single filter. This doesn't include the double stack. So I just wanted to give it a try with a slightly brighter image. But I think the 174 camera here is just far better for something like this. This also has a Newton's rings issue, so I have the tilt that I put on this as well. Here the 174 camera doesn't have as much of an issue with Newton's rings, so hopefully in the next couple of days here, if it clears up, I'll give that a try. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool.
Yeah, very good. All right. Anybody else? That's a lot. All right, moving on. Astronomical news and events. The only thing that I made note of is some interesting news that, one thing I've often taught in my class that I taught for many years that turns out may not be true. So it sounds like the Milky Way galaxy may not collide with the Andromeda galaxy in about 4.5 billion years after all. So we can all collectively go, phew, that's one thing less on our plate. So based on the latest observational data from the Hubble Space Telescope, as well as the Gaia Space Telescope, from the European Space Agency, there is now only a 50-50 chance of the two galaxies colliding within the next 10 billion years. And one of the culprits could be the presence of the Large Magellanic Cloud, which can affect the trajectory of the Milky Way and make a collision less likely. So if you were really worried about the collision between the two giant spiral galaxies in the local group, you may not have anything to worry about for at least 10 billion years. So you can rest easy.
Hey, Richard, did you follow the Japanese lunar probe?
I have not, no.
It was landed yesterday, but it didn't make it. It crashed.
Oh, I did hear a little blurb about that. Yeah.
They were hopeful it was going to make it. I was curious, why did it take 5 years to get there? What route did they take that took 5 years to get there?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know about that.
Did they throw it out into
I think it was
space
170
and waited for the
days.
Earth to go around the sun 5 times and catch up with it, or?
I think when I was watching the live stream, they had a little thing that said since launch, and it was like 100 and something days.
Oh, well, one of the media things I saw said 5 years, but they might have been wrong on it.
I know this is the second one they tried. There's a third one.
3 times.
That's too bad because it looked like they had some experiments that were going to be kind of cool to do.
Hopefully.
Any other news?
Yeah, did anyone see the hold on a second here. I'll drop it in the chat. There's those the new high resolution images of the sun's corona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just dropped the link in there. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, those are almost as good as Matt's images.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
This will be next week. I'll take these shots next week.
That's right.
For once, it's not an AI fake picture.
Yeah.
I got something to pass along. Can you guys hear me?
Sure. Yeah, Darren.
Oh yeah. So I have a good friend, Jim Ehlers. He's out in the Detroit area. He just as a side note, he just picked up his second 5-inch Unitron in the last week. So he has 2 5-inch Unitrons. I don't know if there's anyone on the planet that can say that, but he's an excellent restorer of telescopes, and he has been taking on a job of restoring a 9-inch Alvin Clark refractor, and he's saying he's going to need some help. If anyone is interested in the Michigan area in general in restoring a 9-inch Clark refractor, let me know through Joe Comiskey, and I can get word to him. I don't remember the name of the college, Albanine or Abenine or something college.
Albion.
Yeah, Albion. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a 9-inch Clark refractor there that Jim Ehlers has said he will restore, which he's actually done before when he was much younger, I believe. And so he's taking it on again, but he wants some help. If anyone is interested in working on something like that, a project like that with Jim, let me know and I will get you the appropriate contact.
I've actually looked through that refractor about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Richard, if you remember Tom Taylor, we went over there once. But yeah, that's a pretty neat scope.
Yep. Here you go. So this is the observatory. Well, it's actually the well, I'm not sure what the function of it is now. I'm sure I have it mentioned here somewhere, but we just recently had Nicole Zellner give another presentation. This is her back in what year, whatever year this was. I can't remember off the top of my head, 2008 or something. And I don't know if we have just a good shot of the refractor itself. It's kind of hard take a picture of the whole thing, but like, well, here's we can get that away. So there's Jack with the Alvin Clark in the background there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
yeah.
that's during our field trip back in like 2008 or so.
That's how he ruined his shoulder. Well,
Yeah, that's right. And you can see on the back here, Cambridge, Massachusetts, or Cambridgeport, I'm sorry.
there we go.
Yep, so that's it. Yeah, I'm glad they're giving that scope some TLC. Maybe after they finish, we can go take a look at it again.
Mhm.
Yes.
Be close enough.
Any other news? All right, moving on here. KS Event Horizon. Of course, we're kind of getting into summer now. And many of you know a few years ago, I decided to do away with the July meeting. It was never terribly well attended anyway. So next month, it's just observing. But our next public observing session is supposed to be tomorrow. June 7th at the Kalamazoo Nature Center, but there's a graduation. I mean, well, this time, no, not a graduation, but this time it's clouds. So there's something always in the way. It's either graduating kids, which I guess is nice, but it'd be nicer if they put it on the schedule. But it'd be even nicer if nature wouldn't cloud out so many of our sessions, especially this season. We did have one successful session. We didn't have very high hopes for the last session. And it turned out to be a decent night there for a while. So we did have one observing session, but doesn't look like we're going to have our second tomorrow. But keep your eye on the website. If things look a little better later in the, late in the afternoon, I'll post the official notice, either go or no go. But we'll be out at the Nature Center if it does get better tomorrow night. But if not, we'll try again on June 21st. And then the sessions in July are July 5th and July 19th. Of course, if you can't remember any of that, just go to kasonline.org and you can see the full schedule on there. As usual, the deadline for the newsletter is the 15th of every month. So if you do have something to contribute to the newsletter, please try to get it to me by the 15th. If not, at least try to tell me you have something on the way that might be a few days late, and I will try to make room for it. But as of right now, I'm kind of, these days, right after the 15th, I kind of work on the newsletter little bit by little bit because I don't quite have as much free time as I previously have here recently. So pretty busy these days. Any other items not on the agenda that anybody wanted to mention before we talk about our next gathering besides observing?
There's a question in the chat about picking up the KAS lights. I was going to say, can we bring those to the picnic?
Yes. So I could always bring them with me. Just tell me, for those of you that reserved a KAS nightlight like this one, I can't get the reflection to go right. So it looks better with my face isn't in the way. So, yep, here is what the KAS nightlight looks like. You can see a version. I do have the Sky Shop open now. Let me pop that up here again. So let's see.
It's a nice night light.
Go away. Okay, I got to get the Zoom stuff out of the way. So let me go back here. So you can go to the Sky Shop. If you reserved one, I'll just hold one aside for you. But if you'd prefer just for me to ship one, just go ahead and go to the Sky Shop here. You go to Support Us, pull up Sky Shop, which is where we are now. Scroll down here. You can purchase any of this stuff. But there's what the KS Nightlight looks like with the red line on. But of course, they go through, they have several different color variations, and you can even have it cycle through all of them. It does all kinds of fun little effects. So here, I can try to turn it on. There it goes. So I don't know if you can tell, but the green light is on now. If I could turn my light off, I would, but the switch is way over on the wall there. But that's green. It looks really green to me, but on the screen, all I can see is white. But I don't know if I can. There now it's kind of purple, and now it's kind of, I don't know, yellow or green. You just can't see it all in the picture. But you can now order those from the website. So, but if you just reserved one and just want to pick it up and save $10 in shipping, I will bring it to an observing session, or I could always get it to you at the picnic if you could wait until August to get one. But right now, this is the only one on someone's shelf or whatever anywhere in the world. So, and I do have one set aside for the observatory too. I'll set one up during observing sessions, and people can see it and admire it and probably touch it and get fingerprints all over it. But yeah, I know I have all the night lights in my car right now. All the stuff for the front table is in my car. The video camera stuff is in my car. So as soon as we're done here, I have to go get that and unload and bring it back in because I thought we were going to be at the Math and Science Center. So, oh well. Any other things anybody wanted to mention? Check in with me on? All right. So our next kind of general meeting is our annual picnic. So the 31st annual Perseid Potluck Picnic will this year be held at Flesher Field. This year it should be a lot better location than we've had. I really wanted to go to Texas Drive Park last year because it was the picnic's 30th anniversary, and that's where the first two picnics were held. But now that they have that water park there, it's not quite as great of a picnic spot, at least for us, that it used to be. So I don't plan on going back there. Plus, they were also supposed to give us electricity last year, and they didn't. So we didn't have burgers last year. Which reminds me, we currently do not have a volunteer to bring a grill. So I don't know if Pete wanted to try to bring his electric grill again. Pete, you want to try to do that? And this year we're supposed to definitely have electricity, but we'll try to do a follow-up with that and make sure they do have electricity this year. But I don't know if anyone has a propane grill and lives nearby Flesher Field, you might want to have it ready so you can bring it. And I'm sure we'll probably have Don do the purchasing of the food. Don was probably on his way to Kamsey, and he probably might not get back to Battle Creek in time for the meeting. So apologies to him if that's the case. So we'll be at Flesher Field on 9th Street on August 2nd for the Perseid Potluck Picnic. And as usual, we'll send out an email about that. And I hope we get a lot better turnout than we've had the past couple of years. So we're hoping to get it up in the 40s or 50s at least.
Oh, my boss.
And I know it's a ways off because, you know, the September meeting's a ways away, but I figured I'd put in a plug or a request for a volunteer to provide snacks for the September meeting. I know that's a long ways off, and some of you might not be sure if you're going to be able to make it, but number one, you should attend because I'm giving the presentation that night, and I take great offense when people don't come to the meeting that I speak at, so you better be there. And we do need someone to bring snacks, so if we don't get any volunteers tonight, we'll just have to try again for later. Pete, you're volunteering for September too?
Yep, September.
Oh, I was going to say, I can volunteer for that.
All right.
Pete, you're doing the cooking.
Yeah.
I can bring the snacks in September. What day is the thing? What's the date?
It's the 5th. I'm 99% sure it's September 5th.
Okay, I'll put it on my calendar.
All right. Well, great, Joe. Yeah, we'll put you down as the volunteer for that. And if there's nothing else, you know, usually we do like a 20-minute break anyway. So we'll get done here about 20 minutes early. So we will go ahead and officially adjourn the June general meeting. And again, apologies to anyone that maybe missed out a bit because you tried going to Kamsey. But again, it's January, folks. They don't tell us these things, and we don't find out until the absolute last second.
Richard,
So thanks again, everyone.